All right, Jeremy Winya, Black Belt Broker Team, coming out with you another Real Talk Thursday. Now this is something that came out in an animation that we actually pay for a service to send out animations and information. And I thought this was one that was so good, I want to make a video about it. So this video is mistakes to avoid when selling your house. Number one, skimping on necessary repairs. Now how this works is you're gonna call me up and say, I would like to sell my house. And I say, I would love to see your house. And then I'm gonna go see it. Now I'm not a stickler that it has to be perfect. It's your house. You own it, you live there, but I will make suggestions about repairs that need to be made. And if you make those repairs, chances are your home is gonna sell faster and for more money, even in a market like this. Number two, preparing poorly for showings. Now this is one that is a little bit tricky because everyone has a different idea of what their place should look like. But I will make suggestions on what it should look like, and honestly, as clean, as sparse, and as shiny as possible, that's what we want. The cleaner it is, the prettier it is, the less cluttered it is, lacking in family photos, things like that, all of that preps you up for perfect showings and gets you the most money. Number three, now this is a huge pet peeve of mine, and I'll admit, when I first started in real estate, I did this wrong. Poor quality photos. I took my own photos once upon a time, I hate to admit it, and I didn't know any better and I didn't think it mattered. It matters, right? Myself, my agent, we hire a professional photographer to take all our photos. We also do 360 photos and virtual tours and all of these other things that go along with good quality photos to make sure that your house looks as good as it can online, because that's where everybody starts the search, online. So you want it beautiful and you need beautiful photos to show that. Number four, listing for sale by owner. Right? While this might seem like a great way to save you money, it likely is not. Yes, hiring a realtor does have an expense, and it can be a high expense if your house is very expensive. But I have seen time and time again where people list a house for sale by owner, they don't get that market coverage that they should get. They don't get that as many people walking through, and they price it low. I've met with buyers many times where they said, oh, we'd love to get X price. And I say, actually, I'll bet you we list it for many dollars more and we'll get you even more than that when it actually sells. And they're like, no way is that true. And it nearly always is. A good realtor will easily pay for themselves. And the other thing that you get with a realtor is advice that will help you avoid legal pitfalls, right? It is a barrier between yourself and legality that you don't get if you do it on your own, and that can certainly come back to bite you in the behind. Do not sell it yourself. Use a professional. Number five, setting an inflated price, right? Many times people tell me, well, if we start high, we can always go down, but we can't ever go up. Actually, that's not true. You can go up. We've done it. We've gone under contract, had stuff happen, things changed, we did repairs, we went up in price, and we got that price. But that's not the crazy part. The crazy part is if you list high and you don't get the traction, you will almost for sure get a lower price than you initially thought. In fact, right now and for many years, what is better is to price a little bit more aggressive, get a handful of folks liking it, maybe get some bidding war and get it bid up to what you wanted anyway, and you get cleaner, prettier, nicer contracts. But even if that's not the case, pricing it right, all the data for all of my time in real estate says if you price it right, you get the most money. If you go high and you have to come down, you will get less money. They have done extensive studies on this, and pricing it right the first time is always the best. Number six, and this is a tricky one for all of you, underestimating the cost of the process. Selling a house comes with quite a bit of expense, and it's not just the ones that you think about like realtor fees, right? That one's an easy one everyone thinks about. But there's also title fees, and they can be fairly extensive. And there can be repairs that are needed that you weren't expecting because you didn't know they exist. The sewer line has a crack in it, and it's been functioning fine, but now all of a sudden someone does their due diligence, they put a camera down it, and it shows a potential problem, either really soon or down the road, and they want that repair. All of a sudden you're paying out for the repair. Sometimes not in this market per se, but before, for years, covering closing costs for the buyer. That was common for decades, right? And that's an expense. I mean, there are many others, but those are really the big ones that people don't think about. And HOAs, actually, HOAs kill me. HOAs have sometimes a massive expense for them to allow you to sell your house because they have to send a status letter and they have to make sure that everything's paid up, or they charge a transfer fee and a fee and a fee and a fee and a fee. And all of a sudden you're out many thousands of dollars to your HOA that you weren't expecting. Now that one's hard for us realtors to know unless we happen to know that specific HOA, but there are much greater expenses with selling your house than you think, which also is another reason to not go for a sale by owner, because we're gonna expect those costs and explain them to you, and you're not. Now on that note, right, that's the top 6 of things that I think you should know that you might not have. And these are the mistakes that you're gonna make, potentially, if you don't use a pro, and it's things that we battle against all the time. So if you have real estate questions, obviously hit us up. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one.